Hey guys, so before we get into today's episode, I want to take time out to give credit where credit is due. I want to give props to the program that helped me get where I am today. There would not be a tech job Tina here talking to you about how she went from being an SDR to an AE in 8 months without this program. That program is Course Careers. It's a self-paced, affordable course that you can take to help you get into an entry-level tech role. Now, I took tech sales and I never looked back. But hey, maybe tech sales is not for you. That's okay. They got other entry level tech roles that you can choose from, all at a very affordable price. And I'll even help you make it even more affordable by giving you my discount code link so you can take an additional $50 off of any course that they offer. And they also have payment plans available. So for those of you on the fence looking for a way to break into tech, I am a walking, breathing testimony that it works. So get off that fence and go get your tech job. Peace. Well, what's going on, guys? It's your girl, Tech Job Tina, signing in for another episode. On today's episode, I want to talk to you guys about the topic of quitting your job, right? Now, I know we have all seen a lot of videos across YouTube where content creators are posting about quitting their job, right? And they all say some form of I quit, right? And a lot of them are quitting for several different reasons, right? And sometimes those reasons are good reasons, and sometimes those reasons are not so good reasons, right? Take a look at this survey. They talked about the top 5 reasons why people quit their job, right? So I'm going to share my screen with you and let's get into it. All right. So in this article by Forbes, they talked about a recent study that was done by Flex Jobs. So Flex Jobs surveyed 2,200 people to try to determine what the top 5 reasons were for people to quit their jobs, right? And when they surveyed those 2,200 people, they found that 30% of those people wanted to quit their jobs, right? So when we further broke that down, this is what they came with, right? So in that survey of 2,202 workers to be exact, they said that 62% of those people wanted to quit due to toxic company culture. That was actually the largest percentage of the people surveyed. The second reason that they were leaving was because of low salary, right? They're not getting paid enough, right? So they're leaving for that reason. The third reason was poor management. The fourth reason was lack of healthy work-life balance. And then the fifth reason was not allowing remote work. So those are the top 5 reasons that people were quitting their job. So do you agree with that? Do you agree that that's probably the top 5 reasons that people would quit their jobs? Me personally, I think, yeah, because when I think about the 2 main reasons, not even the 5, but the 2 main reasons that come to mind for people quit, toxic culture and that money, right? So I definitely do agree with that as a top 5. I think that is a solid top 5. The not allowing remote work one is pretty fresh and new because I mean it's only as of recently that remote work became like really a thing. I mean, up until maybe the last, I mean, I would say maybe 4 years, 5 years max. Most of us were pretty much used to going into an office environment for our jobs every day, right? And so now more and more people are putting that on their wish list and they're making it a deal breaker item on their list, right? So I thought those top 5 were kind of interesting. Put your comments below. I'd love to hear if you agree with this or if there's any additional reasons that you can think of why people are quitting their job. All right, so now that we have those top 5 reasons out of the way, I want to pivot over into this video by this content creator that I follow on LinkedIn and YouTube. He has been working in SaaS sales for over 5 years, started as an SDR, moved into an account executive, had a very successful career in tech sales. So I want to show the video and then I'll give some commentary on it. It was an interesting take on why he quit because a lot of times we're not always quitting for bad reasons, right? So we're going to take a look at his video and then I'll comment afterwards. So let's get into it. Let's go.
I'm quitting my job today. That just sounds even weird to say out loud. I'm about to hop on with my manager right now. I'm so fucking nervous. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. All right, man. This is going to blindside you. I wanted to let you know that I'm going to put in my notice at the man base. All right. So I just got off a Zoom call with my manager. I was super nervous to do it, but I feel like a big kind of weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Last night, I was just kind of like reflecting on the past 6 years at this company, and demand base has absolutely like changed my life. It has been the best 6 years of my life. I joined in July of 2018. A few months before then, I had graduated college with no job and tons of student debt. I knew I wanted to get into sales, but my university was recommending like enterprise rent a car, ADP, and nothing against those professions. It just wasn't something that I was interested in until I came across this occupation of tech sales. And so I started interviewing at a lot of these different tech companies, kind of feeling out of place. I remember I had an interview with Google and I was like 30 minutes late to the interview. Then there's some interviews that I completely just bombed. Some I thought I did really well on and didn't get offers. So I was interviewing like crazy, striking out. I was only getting offers from like companies that I wasn't really that interested in. And then I believe I came across Demand Base on LinkedIn. And so I thought it was a really cool company from what I could understand of it. I applied. I had some online interviews. I went in the office, met the team, and from there, I was like absolutely hooked. Like I thought the culture was awesome. The product they sold sounded interesting at the time. I didn't fully understand it, but I knew they sold to marketers, which I was super interested in marketing at the time. The pay was pretty competitive for the other things that I was looking into, but little did I know that this would have been one of the best decisions of my life 6 years ago. There was a lot of people that believed in me, taught me a lot of the skills that I learned today, and I learned one of the most important skill sets you could possibly have: selling. And even personally, it was one of the best decisions of my life too. Like I got to experience working in New York City in my 20s, like right after college. And a bunch of the SDR team was similar ages, from like right after college to I would say up to 30. So everybody was like fairly young. There was new people to the city. People wanted to meet each other. There was a lot of great energy. We worked 5 days out of the week in the office. We would go to happy hour probably like 3 times a week, and just getting to experience like New York City happy hours and like going out in New York City with your coworkers and creating a friend group. I'm just very grateful I have those memories and that experience. What's going on, everybody? My name is Vin Matano, SDR here at Demand Base. I had a lot of good memories here at Demand Base over the year, but I would say my most favorite memory is the ones with the team. And then even the opportunity to like travel for work as well. Like growing up, I did no traveling. I went on an airplane, I think once my entire life. And I think it was from Disney World. We drove to Disney World and flew back. So like I never went anywhere. My vacations as a kid was like going to the Jersey Shore. Working at Demand Base allowed me to do a lot of business travel, going to Austin frequently, San Francisco, Las Vegas, Boston, Scottsdale, going on President's Club trips to Hawaii and Mexico. It allowed me to see a lot of the rest of the country on a company's dime. I got to meet some amazing people, and professionally, I did well too. I made SDR of the year 2 times in a row, made President's Club 3 out of the 4 years of me selling. I closed over $3.8 million in ARR and over $6.4 million in total contract value in just 4 years, all while growing my personal brands on LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube to over 80,000 followers. So these last 6 years have been like extremely fruitful. Also financially, being an AE at a company like Demand Base was like financially a great decision for me as well. Like I was able to pay off 6 figures worth of student debt in just 3 years. I was able to use my income to fund a lifestyle that I was interested in living, doing really cool experiences. I believe that money is truly meant to be spent on life experiences, whether that's like running the New York City Marathon, whether that's traveling to different countries with friends that I met from work, or using that income from my 9 to 5 to pay off 6 figures worth of student debt in just 3 years. So, this career has awarded me with so many great things that I can not only just be extremely grateful for the opportunity to work at such a great company. I still do truly believe in the demand-based product. I am an investor. I invested into some shares, a decent amount as well, actually. So I definitely am a true believer of the brand and the company's mission. I'm very bullish on the executive team that they have brought in over the past few years and where this company is going. I think there's a big change happening at Demand Base for the better. So I'm really excited to kind of watch from the sidelines as an investor and supporter of the brand. I owe a lot of what I have in my life to Demand Base. So there was no bad blood between either I or the company or anyone within the company. There's nothing but positive things that I have. My direct manager was the best manager I've ever had in my career, taught me a ton about the role of selling. He really cared about not only me succeeding, but like he cared about me, what I was doing in my personal life. And when I told him the news, he was nothing but supportive, and he wanted to learn more about my next chapter, which kind of just showed that he wasn't thinking selfishly. So, like I said, have nothing bad to say about Demand Base, and have much love for everyone that does work there. But that being said, I think it's time for my next challenge. What that is, I will not announce just yet. I want to use this time to showcase my gratitude and just do a little bit of reflection on the past 6 years at Demandbase.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop that video right there. So, and for those of you that want to watch that video again, or you want to follow Vin's content, I will put a link to that video in the description and in the comments. That is Vin Matano. I'll follow him on LinkedIn and of course on YouTube. Really good content on both of those social media platforms. And one of the things I liked about what he was saying, he kind of spoke upon, if you're going to quit, he actually did it the right way. If you were listening to the video, you heard Vin talk about what he was able to accomplish while he was working in tech sales, right? He talked about being able to pay off student loan debt, being able to pay for the things that he wanted to do and to live the lifestyle that he wanted to live, right? So what I gathered from that is, financially, he's in a really good space, right? He's been very, very good with his money. He has spent it wisely, and that this has afforded him the opportunity to go on to the next thing, no stress, right? And of course, we don't know what that next thing is. I don't know if he's going full time into content creation, if he's going into business ownership, or if he's going to another company, because he has not announced that yet. But because of the things that he did right in his tech sales career, it's afforded him some flexibility, right? So that's really important as you get into these high paying roles, especially if you're in tech sales. I tell people all the time, save those commission checks, right? Start getting yourself in better financial shape, whether that is like he did, paying off, debts like student loans, credit cards, houses, cars, whatever you got, right? This is your opportunity to set yourself up so that you can live that life a little bit more stress-free because you've got things handled, right? So I think that is the ideal way to quit a job if you're going to do it, right? And as he mentioned, he has one of the best skills you can have, right? The ability to sell. Man's been selling software for 6 years, right? So that means that whatever he's going to do, right, he can always depend on his ability to pick up another software sales job. He'll always be able to go back to tech sales because he picked up that particular skill, he strengthened that skill, and he'll always be able to fall back on it, right? So going back to a lot of the things that I talk about when I talk about the importance of skill stacking your skills, not just any skill, but with a high paying in demand skill. So that way you can make great money. And if you decide for whatever reason, you know what, I'm going to leave this company, go do my own thing, whatever that is, whenever you feel like, okay, I've done what I want to do and now I'm ready to come back, you have the skill set and you can do that, right? So I definitely love how he laid out like what he was able to accomplish, and now he's moving on to his next challenge, right? So I'm looking forward to hearing what that next challenge is. So I want to kind of piggyback off what he said and what I just mentioned about having that high paying skill that you can reach into your toolbox and deploy that skill whenever you get ready, right? So the next piece of content I want to talk about Trent Dressel. For those of you that don't know who Trent Dressel is someone that he is also a content creator. He also has over 5 years working in the tech sales space, and he is also the instructor of the Coursecareers tech sales course, right? So Trent Dressel, a little over a year ago, Trent Dressel actually got let go from the company that he had spent 5 years working at. He was working at Qualtrics, right? Well, I believe it's HR tech. So he had been working there for 5 years. He started as an SDR, got promoted into an account executive role. When he got let go from there, he was making $300,000 a year as an account executive at that company, right? He had the skill set. He had the experience. He could have, roll that into another role after they let him go. But instead, he decided to go and try other things, right? He tried business ownership. He also tried running the family business, right? Just taking all the skills he had learned from working in tech sales and transferring it over to the family business. So he did that for over a year, a little over a year, right? But here recently, he decided he was ready to go back into tech sales, right? He's got that skill set, right? He can reach in his toolbox and deploy that skill set anytime he gets ready. So I'm going to play this video because he made an announcement on his YouTube channel that he's going back into tech sales. I'll drop a link to that video. You can watch it in its entirety. You can also watch all the other videos on his channel because he talks a little bit more about it. But I can tell you this, he started his job search in April and he's already gotten hired at an amazing company, right? So I'm going to play the video and then we'll get into some commentary. Let's go.
I'm so excited to announce I got a job in tech sales. The opportunity to do what I love again means the world to me. This moment has been 453 days in the making. Who's keeping track anyways? Continuous improvement, long-term thinking, and the support from so many gracious people made this possible. I'm going to talk to you about what this means to me, why I'm doing it, and what I've learned over the past 453 days. If you are curious to learn the 24 software companies I applied to in my account executive job search over the past 2 weeks, I only got rejected 11 times. Sign up for my free newsletter to access that information, link in the description below. What tech sales and what this job means to me, I feel a rejuvenated sense of purpose as I restart my mission of becoming a great account executive. I feel a weight lifted off my shoulders that I've been carrying for the past year. I feel a maniacal sense of urgency to make up for lost time. I feel a brand new perspective on work. I feel deep humility as I seek to learn from others and contribute to the team. There were times over this past year that I laid in bed, filled with self-doubt, thinking that my career was ruined and that nobody would give me another chance. I feel like the luckiest guy in the world because I get to do the work I love again, which is selling software. And I also get to continue living downtown Austin, Texas, because this role is fully remote. I feel a duty to myself, my family, my community, and my new team to bring the passion, energy, and performance that I know I'm capable of. I feel gratitude. I feel it in my body. Why I got a job in tech sales. My why is that I want to become a great account executive. I was asked where I see myself in 10 years, and I genuinely want to be a career sales professional. All I'm focused on is the role right in front of me. I intend to maximize my potential as an account executive and do the absolute best work I can. And by doing so, I intend to earn a promotion to a senior account executive when I'm ready. And then after I continue to prove myself, produce results, be a great teammate, be a leader, someone that uplifts others, I intend to promote to an enterprise account executive and develop a consistent track record of performance. It's not about beating others, going to President's Club, or even the money. I feel intrinsic satisfaction and meaning in the mastery of my craft. Mastery of sales is an infinite pursuit and a journey that will keep me busy for a long time. I could not imagine doing anything else. Lessons. This past 453 days has been filled with ups, downs, and many lessons, believe it or not. I attempted to be a full-time online sales trainer. I attempted to grow my family's small business. I moved from Dallas to Denver to Columbus to Austin. All that chasing to avoid confronting my ego, thinking that returning to corporate would mean I failed in my entrepreneurial efforts. I viewed this past year as the learning experience of a lifetime. I gained a new perspective on work, acquired useful skills, and found clarity on what I actually want to be doing. My new perspective on work is that it's a privilege to get to do software sales. The idea that you can work fully remote, deliver valuable solutions to companies with massive impact, have the chance to earn a great living, to provide for yourself, your family, your community, get to work with really smart and motivated people in a dynamic, constantly changing environment with so much opportunity. It's exciting. I will not take a day for granted going forward, nor waste time to the best of my ability. I believe I re-enter the workforce with a more well-rounded skill set as I have negotiated warehouse leases, negotiated freight agreements, managed our Asia supply chain, a lot of evening conversations, closed a deal with a Fortune 500 customer selling products I didn't fully understand at the time. And I believe I've learned how to think differently.
All right, so I'm gonna stop that right there. If you want to see that video in its entirety or just watch some more of Trent's content, you can definitely just click that link that I'm going to provide with you and subscribe to his channel. He's a really good dude. Of course, I did an interview with him when I first broke into tech sales. I'll also put a link to the video to the interview I did with him as well. It was July of 2023 as well. Trent's a super cool dude, man. I'm really happy that he's gotten back into, what it is he loves to do. Wonderful example of how beneficial it is to have a desirable skill in your toolbox, right? Like you said in the video, he took some time, he tried a bunch of different things, right? And then he came to the conclusion that he wanted to go back into software sales, right? So because he had that skill that he could deploy when he was ready, he was able to jump right back into software sales fairly quickly, right? So definitely a reason to go out here, get your skills up. It don't have to be sales. It can be anything that is high paying and in high demand, right? So that way, regardless of where you are in life, if you feel like, you know what, it's time for me to rely on that skill I picked up, you have the leeway to do so, right? So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Definitely follow Trent's content, both on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Totally cool guy. All right, so last piece of content I want to get into before I get up out of here. All right, so going back to the top 5 reasons where people were quitting their jobs, one of them was underpaid or pay in general, right? People were leaving their jobs and going elsewhere for a higher pay, right? So this particular piece of content came up in my YouTube algorithm the other day. So I watched it and I want to share this content with you guys. They are talking about what to do if you are underpaid, right? It's only 10 minutes long. We'll get into the video and I'll do a little bit of commentary. I'm interested to hear what you guys think. I can definitely think about instances where I was underpaid for things, right? So how many times have you discovered that you were underpaid for things? And what did you do, right? Did you just have a conversation with management and try to get a raise? Or did you just go somewhere else where you could be paid more? So let's get into this video and I'm interested to hear what you guys think.
Only 34% of Americans are satisfied with how much they're paid at work.
I wish there was like an exact guide of what you should be paid and what everyone else should be paid. There's just not anything like that out there.
I was accepting crumbs because I thought it was a really huge deal that I was working for this major news organization. $40,000 was the most that I've ever made in my life. So I thought it was what you're supposed to be earning at that stage in my career. What I have learned from that experience is closed mouths don't get fed, and always keep yourself educated.
Most of the time, the people who are paid more, it's just because they asked for it.
To get a salary adjustment can be really, really difficult to do. There are some employers who really want you to shake them down in the sense that they will match an offer if you get it from someplace else. It's a bad practice, but it is pretty common.
Sometimes it's easier to just jump ship.
Here's how to figure out if you're being underpaid and what you can do about it.
In 2016, I worked for a major news organization in ad sales as an account executive. I was an immigrant. I was here on DACA, so I was very appreciative of such an amazing opportunity. I was making $40,000 a year. I really thought that that was, a lot of money at the time until I had like a casual conversation with my coworker who was actually complaining about making about $102,000 a year. It never occurred to me until that conversation that I just, I was severely underpaid.
Around 1 in 20 workers in the US said they would quit if they found out their coworkers earned more money than them. And 63% said they would demand equal pay.
You can certainly ask other people doing similar jobs in your own organization how much they're being paid. The question, though, is figuring out whether the people you're talking to are really doing the same job that you're doing in all ways that matter?
I was a really great account executive. I always hit or exceeded my quota quarter after quarter. At times, I can argue that I was actually doing a lot better than my counterpart that was earning significantly more than I was. I think the only difference between her and I is that she was a lot better at the political side of things.
60% of US workers say they didn't negotiate for more money when they were last hired.
The difference between someone who gets 55,000 and 60,000, a lot of times is just because person number two just asked for 60,000. It's not because they're better at their job. It's not because they're more experienced. It is simply because they just asked for it.
Given the fact that I was an immigrant at the time on DACA, I was always thankful for just any opportunity that came my way. I was accepting crumbs. That experience has kind of pushed me to not accept crumbs and to always push and go after more in my life.
A discrepancy in pay between two comparable employees may be due to market conditions.
There's this issue that's called compression, and compression means that people are being paid differently on otherwise identical jobs because on what the job market happened to be like when they were hired. The big place we see this most commonly is people who've been hired a couple of years ago, and then somebody new comes in and gets paid more than they are because the job market has tightened. Their skills are scarce now, and they're paid more than you are.
My initial reaction, I kept it calm, and I didn't want to allude to her that I made such little money compared to her. I kind of went back to the drawing board. I thought to myself, okay, clearly I'm underpaid. What am I going to do about it?
When you realize that you're underpaid, that is your green light to go do research.
The term underpaid shouldn't be used to compare you to a colleague. It should be compared to you and the market. There's always going to be a range of the market.
It's possible that an objective person might say you're wrong, that these pay differences are not really that different, or there's justifications for them.
Compensation has a lot of different pieces to it. It's not just like a simple formula that's like years of experience equals this amount of money, education equals this amount of money, and location equals this amount of money.
In addition to speaking to people in your industry, you can do research online. One way is through referencing salary ranges listed on similar job descriptions.
There are states and cities that have transparency laws on pay that require the employer to report or make available what they're paying. But the caveat to that is that what they end up reporting are typically salary ranges for a job.
When you see a range, and I think I see this with my clients and I see this with candidates, they automatically think, well, I deserve the high end. Like, that's just natural. But that's where the disconnect becomes between the candidate wanting the high end and the company knowing, well, that range is not actually true.
I would say that when recruiters and hiring managers and companies are putting those numbers up, it's always with the expectation you're probably going to fall somewhere in the middle. Usually the range that they put is the minimum and what likely the highest that they are willing to pay for that position. Even with sites like Glassdoor, Indeed, Blind, Levels.fyi, Salary.com, Built-in, and I use all of these as data points for compensation. But the best way to find that data is really by like tracking the jobs that you're applying to and looking at those salary ranges, right? Especially if it's in your location, because location is such a big data point when it comes to compensation. And sometimes I'll have people who will look at positions that for the states that are required to post salaries like New York and California, which are really, really high cost of living areas. And they'll be like, okay, well, this customer success position is paying $170,000. Yeah, it's paying $170,000 for a unicorn company in California, but you live in Tempe, Arizona, which is probably not going to pay the same amount.
At the end of the day, companies are teams, and they're going to pick the best players for the best value.
I decided to continue on as if nothing ever happened, as if I haven't heard anything, and do some market research just to understand how much it is that I am worth, given my experience, what experience that I've had in the past that's transferable, and then take that research with me onto finding a brand new job.
One option, if you suspect you're being underpaid, is to request a salary adjustment from your employer. But career experts say you should go into the conversation prepared.
You should never bring up another coworker's name in that conversation. You shouldn't say, I had a conversation with Henry. I know with the same experience and the same skills. I realize that he gets paid 20% more than me. I want the same salary as him.
So when you go for that salary adjustment, you want to bring in other data points, and those data points need to be the impact that you brought to the company. Because at the end of the day, they could just find somebody else who's cheaper to do your job as well.
I think what you want to avoid is escalating this to threats, which is easy to do. So once you start saying, this is not fair, other people elsewhere are making more than I am, hint, 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 they're thinking, okay, she's threatening to leave. Your employer might very well say things like, there are other people who would love to have a job like this. Then they're also suggesting that you could end this relationship. And that is really dangerous territory to go into. So I would avoid that almost at all costs. But often your boss doesn't want to let you go, but the people at the top who are trying to hold the line on pay just say, I'm sorry, we can't do it. Good luck.
Another option is to try to negotiate other benefits the company provides, such as 401k match, stock options, commuting benefits, or paid time off. If your employer is unreceptive to a salary adjustment, you can always consider leaving. But career coaches say you should be careful how you go about it.
I knew almost immediately that I wasn't going to go back to, one of my leaders and have a conversation about it, because I didn't personally feel like it was going to be a productive conversation. So I decided to just quietly look for other opportunities.
One of the things you have to ask yourself is there anything that would make me stay here?
Will I ever get paid what I'm worth? And if the margins of you getting paid versus what market value is too crazy high, that is when you should look at other options out there. It might be changing to a competitor. If you want to make a complete pivot and you're like, you know what, this role that I'm currently in, it's always underpaid. The market value for it is not what I want. Then you need to look at other roles that have a range that's higher, that's better fit for you.
I ended up finding another opportunity, which happened to be way better. It was remote, a lot more healthier environment. I used that offer to put in my 2 weeks, and I never looked back since. That gave me the confidence and the guts to kind of land my first 6-figure offer. Ultimately, in the end, I'm now an assistant VP. Without that experience, I probably wouldn't have been able to get here today.
In certain circumstances, underpayment could be a sign of discrimination. Workplace discrimination laws vary by state. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or EEOC, enforces laws that protect workers from unfair treatment, harassment, retaliation, and other potential violations.
It's the small little things you got to look out for. If you constantly feel the microaggressions during your day-to-day job, it's probably affecting your pay as well.
I have been discriminated in my career. I don't think it was necessarily at this organization, because I have witnessed them kind of treat everyone equally toxic.
You would be surprised at how little evidence you need to start a case like this. And so if you ever feel that, reach out to an employment lawyer in your state.
Many lawyers take cases on contingency and will be paid a percentage of any money that results from a judgment. While documentation will assist in moving the legal process forward, cases can take years to work their way through the court system.
I definitely would say to anyone else that's listening out there, do your research. Don't be afraid to have those tough conversations, negotiate, ask those questions, and don't just accept any old crummy offer.
So yeah, I'll drop that link to that video in the description as well. You can go back and watch it. I was listening to Buddy talk about how if you think you want to go to your manager or to leadership and try to negotiate a higher pay, how you should really proceed with caution, because it could backfire on you. And he's exactly right. And I think that's the reason why a lot of employees don't bother. They just start quietly, like old girl said. She said she quietly started looking for other roles. And I think that's what happens. Most people are like, you know what? I realize I'm being underpaid. I'm going to do my research to confirm that. And then I'm going to start quietly looking for other roles, right? So definitely makes sense. It's tough, man. Once you've accepted that lower pay, it's hard to go back to leadership and plead your case for more money. You just don't know which way it's going to go. So I could definitely understand why most people don't even bother to negotiate with their current company once they discover that they're being underpaid, right? So yeah, so definitely interested to hear what your comments are on that. Like I said, I can think of times where I was underpaid and I pretty much did the same thing. I didn't bother to ask for more money. I just looked for other opportunity elsewhere, right? So definitely share your comments below. Has there been a time where you have been underpaid, and what did you do about it? I'm definitely interested to hear what your comments are. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video right here, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Tech Job Tina is out. Peace and blessings. Bye.